Hey there, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Good afternoon. Happy Sunday to everyone. We are back. Hey, we had to take a little slight sabbatical, and yeah, we still got several of our members doing that right now. And we super encourage it because sometimes you just have to take a break. Okay, you have to take a break, and we have to make sure that we are fasting and praying, and we're hearing from the Lord of what direction He really wants us to go in. And so I'm excited to be surrounded by so many amazing women of God. And we are back. We're back. So you know what? Because we are back, we actually are doing this completely off the cuff, just because we're so excited to be joined together again. So several of the women will pop in and out today because we won't be back on our full throttle, full schedule until next week. But we're excited to be able to get started today. And I know one of my sisters is in the waiting room. There she be.
Hi.
Hello. How are you?
I am well. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. We got to stop meeting like this,
Listen, it's a little weird. I think you got cameras in my house or something.
Seriously, I think you got them in mind. You're not watching me.
How was
we do this all the time. That's when you know that you are just like, you're in sync with someone. Like really,
Yeah.
really. I love you, sister girl.
I love you too. How was church today?
Oh, listen, I got my shirt on that says pressing forward.
Come on, butterfly.
I got a butterfly on there for us, girl.
I love it.
Pastor Miller did it. He did it. God did it through him. You hear me? And it was about pressing forward. And when I tell you, he dropped some knowledge on us that I had no idea. In all your study, right? You got to, what does the word say? In all your get and understanding. And he broke that thing down for us today. He broke the word down. And I was like, whoa, I didn't even know.
Wow.
That, how about you? How was church today? I know it's your first day.
Great. It was great. Praise God for your report. That's awesome. It was great. First day of children's church at my church today at both campuses. We had children's church up and running. Our teen church up and running. So it was phenomenal. Souls got saved, and it was just a phenomenal day.
Awesome. Awesome. See, that's so good. That's it right there. Souls got saved, right? And we're spreading the word. We're not giving cons. We're giving context. Come on, somebody.
That's it.
And that's what it's all about. Souls being saved, And you and I talk about this a lot too, Minister Kaylee.
Yeah.
And that's why our sabbatical was needed, why we need to kind of like pump our brakes a little bit, all of us, and pray and fast and make sure we're going in the right direction, even on this podcast. Everything that we do, gives God glory for all that he has done.
Yes.
And it's about is our content really helping individuals?
Yeah. And are we growing?
Are we growing? Yes.
As well. Like we could be pouring out all the time, but are we pouring out from an empty cup? Wow. So, all of it. It was necessary. Yeah.
And we're still going through it, y'all. So just so y'all know, we're still pumping our brakes. We got to hear from the Holy Spirit. We encourage you to do that too.
Yeah.
In anything you do, especially when you go, what, something told me, to do that or not to do that. Okay.
Exactly.
And it's not always comfortable, right?
It's not always comfortable, but it's a part of it's the butterfly. It's not comfortable being in that cocoon. It's not comfortable, growing in that tight space. But those tight spaces really do make a difference. It challenges you, it grows you, it strengthens you. That butterfly has to grow some strength to be in that cocoon. To be able to grow in that. So you know what? It's a process, but it's a needed one. It's a
needed process. And we learn so much when we are, I know I learned that today, self-emptying. A lot of times you have to self-empty. You got to get rid of a whole bunch of habits and things that you that have kind of pulled you down, or even allowed you to influence others to be kind of pulled down.
Oh, wow.
So you have to kind of go through that cocoon stage. I love it, in order to really do some self-emptying. I mean, because you can't go anywhere. You got to deal with you.
Deal with you. Say it again. Deal with yourself.
Got to deal with ourselves. Okay. And speaking of that, I know some of the other women, we had originally said 2:30, because we originally said 2 o'clock, and then I said 2:30, and then you reminded me it was supposed to be 2 o'clock, and here we are. And that's why I was like, I'm gonna pull over because we got to be a woman of our word. But listen, we wanted to talk about, speaking of dealing with ourselves and dealing with things, grief. We wanted to talk about grief today.
Mm-hmm.
And when I did some research on it, when I started coaching as a social skills coach,
Mm-hmm.
I found things that talked about 9 stages of grief. Then I found
Mm-hmm.
things that 7 stages of grief. Then I saw things that said, my research, 5 stages of grief. Then I realized you know what? It really doesn't matter, because you're gonna go through all of them all the time, and you never know how long it's gonna take. And I want to drop this real quick and tell me what your thoughts are. It's not just grief as it relates to death, and I'm definitely going to tap on that in a second.
I
But
was
it's
right
not
behind
just
you.
death of a person, but it can be
Mm-hmm.
death of a thing. Like, I mean, what are your thoughts?
I was right behind you, Evangelist, on that. Grief is definitely not just the passing of a loved one.
Mm-hmm.
Grief, like you said, is definitely the loss of things, the loss of relationships, people that are still here with us on earth, possessions, anything. I mean, I
Yeah,
grieve the fact that I had to leave a school, a job that I really loved. I,
yeah.
I had to
Wow,
grieve that, and I didn't even know that I was really grieving that. Like I was.
wow.
So you really, if you sit back, how many things are you actually grieving about? You know.
Right, right.
Hmm.
The job, that's a big one.
Yeah.
Because you still go through those stages of shock. I think denial was one.
Hmm.
Was it the bargaining,
Bargaining. Hmm.
depression,
Hmm.
anger,
Resentment. All that.
resentment, all of that. And then sometimes you'll stay stuck in one. And it's like you said, for a job, when our financial situation gets a little stuck, grief, relationships,
Yeah.
you know. And one thing that has encouraged me since my dad was, and I'm going to say it again, murdered. Okay. Because a lot of people, it's one thing when you're dealing with the death all by itself, but then when you're dealing with the unknown of how they were killed and what happened,
Mm-hmm.
and will there ever be any justice according to this justice system? Now, even though I'm leaning and depending on my God's justice system, one thing that was encouraging for me is that I realized that I can't put a time limit on my grief. And I realized that God said, listen, I'm closer to those who grieve.
Agreed. And that is the word.
You
That
know,
is the word.
yeah, that is the word. And so I want to encourage people out there, for death of a person, don't let anybody tell you that you got to get over your loved one's death so quickly. That's a lie from the pits of hell.
Yes.
It takes time to get through those things,
Yes.
and you might be on all those stages. You might be stuck on anger for a while, or stuck on shock for a while, or
Mhm.
bargaining, thinking you can bargain to get that person back, and all kinds of things. And it's a part of the process. And I'm going to
Yes.
say, get help if you need to. I did, and I'm still getting help. My number one help is God. In addition to that, sometimes you have to get some extenuating help. You do.
True. And that's
Yeah.
good that you said that, because not people, believers in Christ think that we can Jesus everything away,
Yep. You're right.
and not understanding that Jesus also understands healing, because Jesus came on this earth. He died on the cross for us, and he came on this earth and was in flesh and got to experience everything that we experience, even though it's not every account in the Bible that, every emotion. But if you believe in him enough, you believe that he was on earth and he got to feel and experience everything.
Yes.
So he understands. He is our mediator. He is the one that goes to the Father for us. So he
Come on.
understands, because God doesn't. That's why God had to send
Hello.
Jesus. But that's a whole nother
Come
conversation.
on now.
But with that being said, Jesus Christ wants us to do the necessary work. Faith without works is dead.
It's
You
dead.
can have faith in God. You can shout all day in church. You can have a
Come
Holy Ghost
on.
party, but still come back home in your grief,
Empty. Empty.
and you have to, he allowed us to have people, the right ones that are doing this profession correctly,
Yes.
for there, it's a resource. he supplied us with. So use it.
Use the resource.
Use the
And
resource.
so many of us, sister, you hit the nail on the head too, because we'll go and we'll say we leave it there, and then we really don't leave it there, or at the altar, or we'll shout through. And sometimes is our worship really for real, right? Because he has provided these resources for us to utilize. And so many, and I have to say this, so many of us as brown people, because I know as a child growing up, I remember specifically what happens in the home stays in the home. I remember specifically, in my community, not just in my home, but in my community. And also saying, we don't go see no psychiatrists or psychologists. We don't do all that. That's not how we roll. And that is a destructive mindset of our people. You have to sometimes utilize those resources that Jesus, that God has placed here on earth for us. And the Holy Spirit a lot of times is guiding us there, but we like, because we're stuck in tradition. And then we wonder why our blood pressure is high and our ankles swelling up, and we're dizzy, and all these different things are happening. And that's just not good for discipleship either. You can't win over souls and disciple when you're ministering, when you're heavy.
And then you're bleeding onto those that you are trying to help. Little do you know, you're bleeding right on them. So we have to know. I said this before, and people think I'm crazy when I say it, but then they really think about it. I don't think we're ever in a place where we are totally healed. What I mean by that is I'm talking about, people say, don't marry somebody or don't date somebody till you're totally healed and you resolved all your stuff. Like, I don't believe that's possible, because every day we are changing, evolving, growing people. It does not mean that because we have things going on that we got to choose to heal or sit in it. No, you choose to still face it every day, but you're going to choose to overcome every day. You're going to choose to. It's a choice. God gave us choice from the beginning of time, from Adam and Eve. So we know opposition is going to come. We know terrible things can happen. We know things will disappoint us, but at the same time, to have the optimism and to have the faith, that's the word I want to say. Faith to know that regardless of what's going on around me, I can still have a blessed, abundant life. I don't have to choose to be here. I know it's here, but I don't have to choose to be dysfunctional in my dysfunction. I can have dysfunction going on around me, but that doesn't mean I have to be dysfunctional.
Right.
And that's a hard thing for people to understand.
It is. And especially when they're going through, and especially if they were never taught. Because many of us were never taught how to handle grief, except for to just cover it up. And to go on acting like everything is okay. And then when we internalize it, there's more room outside of you than inside of you. Last time I checked, there's a whole bunch more room outside. I don't care how many pounds I got here. There's much more room on the outside. So we have to let that stuff out. So you're right, dysfunction in our dysfunction. And I have to be very transparent. I didn't hear this thought. This is what we're talking about. I didn't hear it, and I thought I had it all together. My dad's been gone now a year last Sunday. And I couldn't even help other people because I was still dealing with it. You know what I mean? But I couldn't really help other people because I hadn't really sat down and talked to anybody physically. God heard my cry, my screams, and my whispers, and my unsaid, and all of that. But I didn't talk to people about it until now. So you got to get that stuff out. You got to talk about it. You can't go with the status quo. Traditions, because it will kill you.
Yeah. And as you grow and develop, Denise, the more I grow and the more I, age, I'm learning that just because my mom did a phenomenal job raising me, but I'm learning that there are some things that I choose not to carry on to my life. And that's okay. That does not say that I dishonor my mom. That just means that when I have kids, there's certain things that I won't do. Right. When I go through this and I watch my mama go through it, I'm not going to deal with it the way she dealt with it. So it's just once again, It's a choice. Just because I saw my mom deal with certain things the way she did, that doesn't necessarily mean that's going to work for me.
Right. I love that.
And so even as a grown adult, I'm talking about grown adults, sometimes I see them doing things that mom and daddy did because mom and daddy did it, but you're 40 plus and you don't even realize you're operating in something that just does not work for you.
Right. It's like we're operating on a treadmill and going nowhere. Nowhere. And that is true. That's that tradition part that we just should not, And listen, I know you got to go in a minute. You got to go now.
Yeah,
we're talking about choices. That's a really deep.
That's a good choices. Choices can go everywhere. But I wanted you to finish your thought before I go.
Okay, thank you. Because I'm looking at this time going, oh my gosh, she's gotta go. Where is everybody? But I was thinking of like what you said about choices, because you said something very pivotal, and I don't know if we really put a lot of weight on it like we should, or a lot of thought or a lot of effort into that, is that we are not obligated to follow everything that our parents taught us. We are different. Now, yes, we take the good, we take what we know worked. But if we saw a choice that our parents made, because they were learning too, they didn't get a book on parenting, they didn't get a book on how to deal with stress.
No parent did.
They didn't read it. Nobody read it. So we see how their response is. And a lot of times we don't even focus on the response. So I commend you for that. And I thank God for that in you, that you saw the response or the outcome of that action. You're like, wait a minute, I saw this action. That's not something I want to take to the next generation. And it's not any fault of our parents or our mentors or our guardians. They a lot of times they did what they knew. Right. They did the best they could, because I know for my grandma was a praying grandma. One thing I took from her, she would always go in the closet, pull that little beaded strings. You remember that? Okay. Yep. Look, I'm dating myself. But she would go in there and she'll pull it. She had the milk cartons, right? Yeah, we got them little cubicle soft things you can't sit on now. Yeah. But she had the true milk cartons where they deliver her milk, them plastic crates with the whole. She would put that in that closet. It stayed there with a little pillow. Them little cushion pillows had the strings on each corner that you tie on the chair. She tied them little corners around, and that was her chair in that closet. And she would pray through everything. If I didn't learn anything else, I learned to pray. Now you cannot substitute prayer. So what I'm saying, we gotta pray. Yeah, that's a choice that has to happen. All the other things that come along with prayer without works, faith without works, you got to move and do this thing. So I pulled that from her, and I noticed that when she would go in one way praying, she would always come out rejoicing. So talking about what you said about the choice, that's one thing that I pulled from her, and I said no matter what was going on, when she came out of praying, she might be crying in there, but she came out smiling, cooking collard greens, cornbread, all that. Look. So I know that worked. Yeah. Wow.
That's faith. Wow. That is pure faith. So, even having faith through your grief is possible.
Wow.
Having faith through it, it is possible. And it does not mean that it's necessarily wrong, right, or indifferent, but it is definitely possible to have faith through it. So
it is possible to have faith through it.
Yes.
It's a choice, you said, right, my sister?
It's a choice. God gave us a choice from the beginning. There's no way around that. He did not want us to be robots. I ask him all the time, why did you even put the tree there? Why did you even put the tree there? When we all could be fine right now, but choice. So choices. Yeah, we wouldn't need God if he did everything for us.
Amen.
We wouldn't need him. We would not need him. We would not depend on him, because if he would have just gave everything to us, didn't put the there for Adam and Eve, what would we really be like? We say it'll be a perfect
learn from our lesson. Right?
We wouldn't learn anything. We wouldn't grow. I think we would be even more spoiled.
Right, even more. I love that.
Even more. But I love you to life. Hey, LaShawn, God bless you. I love you to life,
I
Denise.
love
I
you
will catch
too.
you on the next round.
That's right. Have fun. Where are you going to eat?
Outback.
Something fun.
Outback.
See, I
Yeah.
can't do nothing at Outback, y'all, but table.
Yeah, that's all you can do.
Do they have salmon and stuff? I guess they
They
got all
do.
that stuff
They
too.
have salmon. Mm-hmm. They do.
Man.
They got salmon. They
Well,
do.
have some for me and LaShawn.
All right, ladies. Bye, y'all.
See you later. Love you so much.
Love you too.
Hey. We'll see you next week. How
Hey,
you doing,
hey.
lady?
Doing all right. How you doing?
I'm hanging in there, sister. I'm hanging in there. I'm hanging in there. And listen, you came in at a great time, a great transition. I know Minister Kaylee had to skedaddle. And so we just gonna take a few minutes and I want to talk to you about the same thing we were just talking about, which is grief. And we're
Mhm.
talking to the ladies that are and some men are viewing as well, but we're talking about grief and how we grieve over different things. You know, it's not just the death of a person, but it's the death of a thing, you know, like a job or a
Mhm.
relationship, you know, your financial situation. And I just want to know kind of what are your thoughts on that? How have you dealt with it? Or what kind of encouraging, empowered women words did you give to someone about what you went through, how you got through it, and you know, and if you
Well,
didn't, where's the transparency at? You know how we roll.
where's the transparency at? Yes, I'm sorry I missed hers.
That's
But
all right.
I am LaShawn Carter, and yes, I have experienced grief from all different aspects of life, from just losing staff members, losing friends, just losing
Mm,
a great dear grandparent of mine. And most people ask me, and I'm glad you brought this topic up. I had tuned in just thinking I was just going to tune in to hear somebody else talk. Didn't know it was going to be me. But
yes,
sorry for my appearance today.
that is, listen, it's all about the inside here. You know, we
Right.
blink and
So I
sometimes
am.
we blank, you know,
Right.
so.
I'm in my workshop. I'm in my environment right now. I'm crafting boxes and getting learning
Oh,
curriculums together.
awesome.
So you got to excuse my presence. But
That's
anyway,
all right.
I and speaking of that, I just dive into work. Literally, my grandmama died probably a week before Christmas, and I was numb. It was like God had already told me that this was going to happen, that her transition was coming close. So I kind of dealt with it, you know, very different than my family members. Like I was there
Yeah.
for my sister, I was there for my dad. I knew they was gonna need me. So when the
Mm,
funeral came, I kind of dived into work. I wrote a book. I sat down and dived into my curriculum. I focused on work. I didn't let it,
wow.
like most people can let it sink their whole ship. I remember her purpose
Yeah.
for me on life was to be greater than what you are. Do not sit
Mm,
in your purpose, to move. And
to
so every
move.
time I was having a bad day today, I just experiencing just a ill feeling over my body, my
Yeah.
spirit. I
Yeah.
had to just sit in my room for a moment and just count on my thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
I lost four
Mm-hmm.
staff members in one day.
Wow.
One day lost four staff members, and that's dead for itself. I'm a business
That's
owner. We
grief. That's
need
grief.
staff.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
can be a grief because you like, what did I do wrong? You asking yourself, you blaming yourself when really
Right.
some people is not ready to go in that season with you. That was dead baggage
Come
that was
on. Come
holding
on.
you to your blessing.
Come
So we got
on.
to look at it as, God, why didn't you let them leave sooner?
Right. Right. You're
Then
right. Because you never
holding me,
know.
and I look at, like, again, I look at grief as a new beginning.
Mm.
Me is a new beginning.
Wow.
I have evolved into this other little butterfly. Now I got many wings and many antlers, and I'm flying in many cities and going and speaking in many different places. So I
Come
look at
on.
grief in a different way than most people. And I had to ask my spiritual mom that too. I was like, why do I feel happy and excited when people die?
Wow.
And she was like,
Wow.
because you already accepted Christ. You already know that they accepted Christ. You already know
Mhm.
that they're absent, may be absent from the body, but really they're still here.
Yes. Wow. And you know what? That they've transitioned. They've gone to a
That's
bigger
it.
than a bigger space.
That's it. And I tell people that then I'll be like, hey, I'm just visiting. When God calls me home, I'm ready. Don't y'all cry. Don't y'all wear no t-shirts. If I come down here and see y'all in a t-shirt, rest in peace, LaShawn Carter, I'm gonna come and get all y'all.
Oh,
You
wow.
just pray. Just pray and keep moving. Hey,
Just pray and keep moving.
look,
Hey,
she done caught all of us off guard on this Sunday.
oh no, they used to it. Amanda used to it. AJ, meet Sister LaShawn Carter.
Hey.
Hi, how are you? It's nice.
I'm doing fine, lovely. How you doing?
Good on this Sunday.
I know. Happy Sunday. And Minister Kaylee was on here a moment ago, but she had to jet. Leave it up to me. Okay, right. So we had this scheduled for 2 since we're doing it on Sundays now. We all hype after serving the praising God. And we said 2, but I don't know how Denise got 2:30 out of that. So I sent y'all 2:30. And she planned her day around what we agreed on, and I done changed that thing. So she came on and gave us some love, and then she skedaddled to her appointment, and LaShawn popped on just in time. Then you popped on just in time. So it's super awesome. And I'm using this Apple product, so I didn't know how to let you in earlier.
Oh, okay, cool.
This is my first time using StreamYard, and I'm starting to like it. Ooh, look at me.
This is my first time using StreamYard on my new phone. It's now an Apple, so I'm like, that's what I was like. Somebody,
you know what? You know what I am gonna say, AJ, though, and yeah, I said it here. It is much clearer.
It is. I'll say that. I definitely will say that. I'm still learning curve. I'm still on the learning curve. Like, I've been Android for all time, so this is just taking a little time.
I'm still team Android. I got both.
I love my Android, y'all, but this iPad is kind of clear. I'm just saying. So, AJ, we're talking about grief, and I know you can give us some positive perspective as well. We're talking about grief, and I did kind of, LaShawn, Sister Carter just gave us like a really just like dynamic outlook for her of how she handled grief with employees and with death, and how she turns it around and a lot of times has to regroup. Minister Kaylee dropped some amazing nuggets earlier. You know how she rolls. Wow. And so we already know how you roll too. So I want to hear what your thoughts are, because from an empowered woman standpoint, when we are truly taking ownership of our choices, okay, as an empowered woman, I really want to hear either your transparent side, the real side, like we always do, or any of the professional knowledge that you have and people that you've worked with that are grieving, and maybe you can give us some pointers there.
I have to say the most important thing when dealing with grief is to not rush your grief. People here in this society put a time limit on how long you can be excused from work, or just expected to not be a part of whatever you were a part of. But grieving is something you can't rush. It takes every individual their own time. And I feel like what happens, people get pressured into getting over things that's not within their time, and it makes it worse, and it makes it drawn out as well.
Right.
So that's the one thing I will say is, like, if you're grieving, take all the time that you need for you.
Right.
Before you can go back to doing whatever it is you were doing.
I like that, AJ. You're saying, like, even with like our job, say, if it's an immediate family, you get 3 days. If it's 5 days, if it's your third cousin, you ain't get no days. And you're right. And sometimes our mind just is like, okay, well, I only got those many days, so maybe, and they gave me a different amount of days for different family members, so maybe I should get over it quicker. No.
And that's never the way to go. Never the way to go. Some people never truly finish grieving because of stuff like that.
Wow. Now that's deep. That's really deep.
So
we want to encourage you all to really try to stay in the solution, but keep moving, even though you might not be moving as fast as what folk think. Move in your own pace, but just keep moving.
Yes.
And I can say that. I was saying that earlier, from my father being murdered. I mean, that is still up in the air. I'm always going to make sure it's out there, because this justice system, this physical justice system, you know, they can easily just kind of slide over your loved one being killed. And even if it doesn't look right, you know what I'm saying? They just go to the next and go to the next. And, you know, and then if it's just you out here fighting for it, it's just one person or a group of y'all fighting for it, then you can't get that far, because you don't even have the full support of your family in some cases. And it's a lot going on. So you're dealing with not only the unknown of losing a loved one, I'm talking about the death of a family member for me, but I'm dealing with that. And then also dealing with the fact that I physically, he's not here. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's a lot. And then having to be that strong person for your children and for your family members, you know, who always look to you to be the bold one. Well, yeah, sometimes we have to cry. And I was saying earlier that there's more room out than in. And so we've been just keep moving. And so I want to encourage women out there that if you've lost a loved one, and men and children, journal. My 18-year-old, she journals a lot. Okay, a lot since she lost her grandpa. In fact, we're going to publish her book soon, which I know will help many people around the world, especially young people, because she journaled through losing someone she was so close to. Journal, get it out.
Yeah.
Talk to somebody, get it out. You praying, that's getting it out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Amen.
Something physical. I know, and I'll stop and then let someone else chime in. But I know Sister Carter earlier was saying she had to go to a room when she was having a bad day. She had just kind of like, hold up, let me regroup here. Sometimes that's getting it out. Yeah. Regroup so you don't turn over a whole bunch of tables, right?
Because everybody's process is going to be different, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Whatever you need to do.
That journaling, I was just telling the staff member, I was like, look, stop venting to everybody else, because can't nobody solve your problems but God. You can go talk to another staff member. That staff member don't know your pain. They only just going to agree with the negativity. But God going to show you. He going to show you more than, when I went through my transition, literally getting rid of some things in my life to see, I told my husband this. I said, could you imagine we couldn't afford to go to Atlanta every other weekend, just Atlanta, and I'm in Chattanooga, just the first class. And I journaled this just years ago. I remember looking at my personal secret closet. I call it my prayer journal. And I was just praying and just asking God, show me, what did I do wrong? What did I do wrong in my finances? Because people grieve over loss of money every day. It ain't just bodies. Sometimes you hurt when you don't have money, when you don't have the means to take care of your household, to take care of your bills. That's grief in itself, because you mad, you angry at the world every day.
Say that. You're right. That's a grief.
That's right.
That's grief. And if you don't journal that thing out, just sit down. And I was just on my cricket machine. I was in a cricket class yesterday, and she was showing us how to make journals. So I was just sitting here on my cricket machine trying to make journals. And I just pulled out one. And I said, there's going to be a gift to a teacher that I know that needs to journal out her inner thoughts. Sometimes, and that's bosses, I say, bosses, women and men. We channel our energy because we're having a stressful day. We channel it out on clients. We channel it out on just the next person to call your phone. They getting whatever the other person didn't get.
Wow.
And it blocks our blessings. It really does.
It does. Wow. That's deep. I like what she said, AJ, and I know you can attest to this too. She said not only is she learning how to do something during that grief process, whether it be her loss of employees or loss of a family member, whatever, she's now learning how to do something new, and she's also passing it on to someone else.
Yeah. The journaling is huge, right? So that would help to not spread that negative energy to whoever called.
That channel, she called it. I love it.
Yeah.
That channel powerful.
You better get channeled.
That channel powerful. I tell people all the time, baby, just look, let me listen to my little boosted sometimes. I gotta take a gutter sometimes. I be like, let me try my little boosted.
Whatever you need.
Whatever I need to calm that other person out.
I can just see her now, just going in.
Look,
just another Coach channel, y'all. Look, for me, I be pulling out Kirk Franklin and look. I don't even know where to look for Lil Boosie, okay? But look, I feel your channel, all right?
Hey, so, sometimes you gotta get the thoroughness out of your life to get back over there to that Christianity side, because you be about ready to be setting it off and be like, you know what, I'm gonna set it off on the wrong person, and that might be my blessing.
That's real talk. She real talking, AJ.
That's like me.
Real. Hey, that's Sabrina, me. How you doing, lady?
Hey, Sabrina.
Hey, good afternoon.
Sabrina. AJ probably like, now who is this again?
Look, they gonna know today. Like my pastor said, you gonna learn today.
You gonna learn today.
That was the title of the sermon. Hey, Coach BJ, what's happening?
I feel like if you be honest, you get some help.
Right. Transparency is the best policy. I'm gonna tell you something about getting some help. Now, listen, you got your psychiatrist, psychologist, you have your coaches. Listen, I'm gonna tell you, she jumped in on the right time. Listen, we're just kind of like right there. Okay, so I do social skill coaching, which is totally different from what Coach BJ does. Listen, and she is super phenomenal. So many of us can start with coaching, right? Because we're not as bad off or as more. I mean, it's not as a bigger opportunity as a psychiatrist or a psychologist, right? You probably can just get someone to kind of take your shoulders and turn you back over here and get you on the right track as it relates to prioritizing your life, your day, your self-care, right? That is what Coach BJ is super awesome in, okay? And so I always endorse these ladies, you know, their podcasts when I support them and I vet them. And I've definitely vetted this chick. She's super cool, super great at what she does, super passionate about it, has a heart for it. So check her out, The Source of Hope. You also can find information about her on not only social media, but her website. She's going to be at our conference, which we may have to move to December. That's a whole nother conversation. But it is that you was gonna find out about that on Wednesday, Sister Carter.
I see.
But, yeah. So please make a note of it right now, okay? But that at that retreat, it is the Courage to Stand spiritual retreat, to be unapologetically you. Coach BJ is gonna be there. Carter's gonna be there. I know White is gonna be there. Minister everybody's gonna be there, and it's gonna be a super fabulous time for you to really transform and get back. As I think Sister Shanavia said, to ignite your sparkle. We're doing that for Boat Rock Community Baptist Church, and I'm telling you, it's going to be a great time. Anyway, I digress. I get so excited when I want to talk about sisters who do great things like Sister Denise, Coach BJ. What's that noise?
That's what I was trying to find out on my end.
What noise? What does it sound like?
Like somebody's flatulent or something. What in the world?
Like flashing?
Mm-hmm.
Flatulent.
Oh no! I know in my background I had some running water. Can you hear it still? I turned off the running water.
No, that sounds like somebody's got a problem.
It's silent on my end. I turned everything off.
I don't know, y'all.
I'm mute and then mute again.
You know, my mouth just say anything, but it just, it's weird.
Let me see. Say something else.
Yeah.
Now it got you froze.
Okay. Am I frozen?
We fine.
Okay.
I think it's on her end.
It might be on her end.
Uh-oh, she froze.
Oh no, she's frozen.
She's gonna come back in.
Yeah, she's gonna come back in. So it looks like it might be on her end because there's nothing going on in my background anymore.
And it's still going live. We still here, y'all. We still here. We ain't going nowhere.
Exactly. Oh, man.
I know everybody probably be like, what in the world? How did she? So how was your church service? Look, we're going to continue. How was your church service today?
I got to tell you, I did not go to church today.
Oh, okay.
But I will be meditating today. This is one of the days that I'm going to be taking to center myself. Definitely need that.
I did that earlier. It was.
How long do you meditate for?
Mine was about 2 hours.
What?
Yeah.
I gotta build up to that.
It's just a lot of negativity energy. Just I can feel the negativity. So I was just trying to get that ill will feeling, that inner thought telling me I can't do something when I know I have the willpower to get it done. So
no, I get that, girl. 2 hours. I need to. Whew.
Can y'all hear me now?
I can hear you, but now you got an echo.
I'm gonna tell you what this is. Y'all ready to know what this is? Hold on. You know what this is? This is.
Uh-oh, she went out again.
Yeah, we can't hear you anymore.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you what this is. I'm trying to turn it off. This is good old faithful iPad. It's on fire. I mean, not literally, but it's like, thank God I have my Android.
Save the There you go.
Okay, there you go.
Can y'all hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's my iPad is like overheating.
Oh, that
was all me, y'all. Yeah, I was frozen, Coach BJ. My iPad went on the brink. It's like at 150 degrees right now.
Oh wow!
You must have left it.
Give you some compliments, and you want to show out like that? Really?
Anyway. No Androids. I mean, old iPad.
Android.
It's just like an Apple. I know.
Yep. Get sour and they just don't want to work no more.
I know.
Oh boy.
One series had enough. She's had enough.
Right. My coach would be like, "Did you talk about them apples?"
This house right here is tripping, okay? It got extremely hot in StreamYard. It didn't like, I mean, literally. At least when my Samsung overheated.
I did it on a laptop because I know that I never used the StreamYard before, so I was like, I don't know if my device don't hold it.
No.
Right.
Oh boy. So y'all, anybody who gets on in conversation with us already know when we start talking like this, we start talking about stuff like this, and stuff starts happening like this, it's time to go. It's time to do peace out. So we're talking about grief today. We are going to tap on it a little bit more on next week. I'm going to do, we have an amazing women's ministry at my church, at Boat Rock Community Baptist Church, Undo Ordinary Global Ministries. We're going to do a snippet about grief next week, 5 minutes or less. I'll make sure to forward it to my pages as well. But it's for our church, and what an amazing church as far as love, leading, and training. So we'll make sure we get more of that out. And then on this podcast, I know there's a couple other things we're supposed to be talking about next week, but we are still going to tap on grief because guess what? We only just barely tipped the iceberg of this thing. And now with this whole pandemic garbage back, okay, we got to stay focused. We got to stay focused. We got to stay focused.
Definitely, especially when we are not going to be around everything that the people that we normally are. So we have to find other things to do to cope with grief.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That is right. We got to find other things to do to cope with grief, because grief is going to hit you. It's going to hit. If you keep on living, you're going to lose something. Right. And we've got to know how to get through it. Okay. And there are some practical tips out there, and that's what we're going to do. Boom. I just thought about it. That's right. That's what's supposed to happen next Sunday. Practical tips. AJ White's going to have some practical tips for you. That's her. Wave your hand. Yep. All right. Minister Kaylee's got some practical tips for you. I've got a couple. And I know Sister LaShawn Carter has already dropped a whole, she just came in here and said, here you go. And so listen, it doesn't stop there, because as empowered women, we strive to be better. Empowerment means you count on other people. Empowered means it's you and the Lord. You're powered for his purpose. And now you understand now that you are in control, and you make the choices, and you choose your destination once you change your mind. And so we're going to come with some practical tips that we know will they've helped us for sure. And we know that they'll help encourage you as well. So any parting words before we, because I'm not I guess I'm in a safe place, but any parting words, AJ, before we close out some stuff?
Oh, just honestly, the most important thing, in my opinion, when dealing with grief is taking your time, but keep moving through it.
Keep moving. Take your time, but keep
moving.
Got it. Sister Carter, what's up?
Hey, I would say on my end, journal. Just journal your thoughts. Don't run to somebody else to make you feel a little bit better, even though it sounds good. But I would say journal everything you're feeling, every emotion, everything that you're going through, and just because I can't say if you do believe in God, don't believe in God. I would just say just look into believing in yourself that you can do it. That's what I was just telling Sister AJ. I had to just meditate and just say I can do it, and just keep telling yourself you can get through this grief. Take it one day at a time. Don't rush it, and just believe that you are empowered to do whatever you can.
That's right, because joy comes in the morning, honey. And listen, I'm gonna bring it on back. I'm bringing it on back to God. I have to do this thing. You know, it's an obligation, responsibility, accountability. Okay, because He can do exceedingly and abundantly more than you could ever ask or think, according to the power that worketh within you. Right, and you just said it. You got to believe in yourself. You got to talk to yourself. You got to trust yourself. Yes, but listen, He's gonna manifest that thing. Because He's already placed that power in you, okay? So listen, let Him do His exceedingly abundantly more. I don't know about y'all, but that sounds like a whole lot.
That's a lot.
If you can do exceedingly abundantly more than ever I could ever ask or think, according to the power that worketh within me. What? And if I got a little bit of power, you're going to take that thing and listen, we can do this. Grief is a part of life, and it's something that we can, in all seriousness, we can get through it. We will get through it together. We'll have some resources ready for you. I know AJ's got a plethora of resources that we can share with you next week. You don't have to wait for us. You can definitely Google it, talk to someone in ministry, can have your practitioner, your medical practitioner. But you can definitely find resources in addition to prayer and the word of the Most High God. You can definitely find resources that He has created for you to use to get through. And don't forget about our children. Yeah. Don't forget about our children. Our children grieve, and so many times they don't tell us. They grieve graduating from high school. Mine went through it. They grieve sometimes grief is getting something. It's because it's a burden. Okay? You know, I know you don't think of it like that, but don't forget about our young people. Our young people need our coaching and guiding. They don't need us to tell them stop crying about it. They don't need us to tell them you'll be all right, baby, because we don't know what they're going through. We don't know how they're processing it. And I'm going to tell you, suicide is real.
Yes, it is.
It is real. And when you work with children like I do and in the community like I do, you see this thing head on. It's real. And kids, if they don't have young people, they don't have anybody to talk to, except for somebody who's holding them in the pity party. I think Sister Carter said that earlier. We don't want to be in that pity party we don't want that. And so we do have to remember our young people. Yes. They don't always have it figured out.
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah. I see your mind thinking over there, AJ.
Because I was going to add, like, it's very important for your children to see you grieve as well.
Right.
Let them know that it's okay for them to grieve as well.
I love it.
Children will follow your lead. So if you show them that it's okay to express your feelings and for you to get those feelings out, they'll do the same.
They'll do the same. Wow, that's deep. You're absolutely right. They will do the same because they are learning what they live.
Yeah.
Right.
And if we always sweep it under the carpet, then they're going to think they got to suffer. That's why we used to tell little boys, oh, you ain't supposed to cry, man. That's weakness. That is not. That is strength. Stop playing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
My daycare babies tell me I was crying this week when I got my 3-star in the paper in the mail. And it was like, what you crying for? I said, baby, these tears of joy.
That's right.
Wow. Coming in. One of my babies, she just came up and gave me a hug and just said, "You need this today. I give you strength." Like I said, I needed that strength today, baby.
Yeah.
And you never know out of the mouth of babes how he would use the baby. How he would use the babies just to just give you some encouragement, literally.
That is awesome. That is awesome. Well, y'all, we are at our time. And I know I keep saying that, but I get so excited because I haven't seen y'all in so long. So I'm going to cut it off. I'm going to be obedient to what I already said myself. Okay. And we'll see y'all next time. Love you. Love you. And y'all can give me 2 minutes. I'm about to hang up. Y'all stay right here for a second. Y'all too. Okay. Rest of y'all, we'll see y'all next week. All right. If the creek don't rise. All right. Let's see you later.
Bye.